Welcome back to the second episode of Literary Lenses, where we continue our journey of exploring the world through words. In this thought-provoking series, we delve into the captivating world of literature, uncovering the myriad ways in which authors capture the essence of human experience and transport us to new realms of understanding. Today's episode focuses on the enigmatic and brilliant Oscar Wilde, one of the most celebrated and influential literary figures of the 19th century. We'll examine how Wilde's unique wit, incisive social commentary, and exploration of the human condition have cemented his place as a prominent figure in the literary world. As we delve deeper into Wilde's life and works, we'll investigate the impact of Wilde's personal life, his struggles, and the trials he faced on his literary legacy. Join us on this fascinating journey into the world of Oscar Wilde, as we uncover the man behind the words and gain a deeper appreciation for the timeless nature of his literary contributions. Let's continue exploring the world through words together, with Oscar Wilde as our guide. Born in 1854 in Dublin, Ireland, Oscar Wilde was one of the most prominent and enigmatic literary figures of the 19th century. His wit, intellect, and biting social commentary made him one of the most well-known and celebrated writers of his time. However, the scandal and controversy that surrounded his personal life have also left an indelible mark on his legacy. This brief biography will delve into the life of Oscar Wilde, focusing on his literary works, the criticism he faced, and his role in shaping the world of literature. Born Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Wills Wilde, he grew up in a family of intellectuals. His father, Sir William Wilde, was a renowned ear and eye surgeon, while his mother, Jane Francesca Elgee, was a poet and nationalist who wrote under the pen name Speranza. Oscar had two siblings, an older brother named Willie and a younger sister named Isola. Oscar attended the Portora Royal School in Enniskillen, and later, at the age of 17, went on to study classics at Trinity College, Dublin. It was here that he began to demonstrate his keen intelligence and sharp wit, winning numerous awards and scholarships, including the prestigious Berkeley Gold Medal for Greek. In 1874, he was awarded a scholarship to attend Magdalen College, Oxford, where he continued to excel academically. During his time at Oxford, Wilde was introduced to the aesthetic and decadent literary movements, which would go on to significantly influence his writing. At this point, a brief mention of Walter Pater would contribute to our understanding of Wilde's literary career. Walter Pater, a prominent English essayist, critic, and art historian, played a significant role in shaping Oscar Wilde's artistic sensibilities and intellectual development. Pater's ideas on aestheticism and the art for art's sake movement left a lasting impact on Wilde during his time at Oxford. Pater's seminal work, Studies in the History of the Renaissance, 1873, presented the idea that the purpose of art is to evoke a deep emotional response and a sense of beauty in the observer, rather than serving any moral or didactic purpose. He famously argued that life should be lived with a focus on seeking out intense and beautiful experiences, stating, "To burn always with this hard, gem-like flame, to maintain this ecstasy, is success in life." Wilde became an ardent admirer of Pater's work, and the two eventually met during Wilde's time at Oxford. Pater's influence on Wilde can be seen in his adoption of the principles of aestheticism, which are present throughout his literary works. For instance, Wilde's only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, explores themes of hedonism, aestheticism, and the pursuit of beauty at the expense of morality. Moreover, Pater's ideas on the role of the critic in the interpretation of art also resonated with Wilde. In his essay, The Critic as Artist, 1891, Wilde echoed Pater's belief in the importance of the critic, asserting that criticism should be considered an art form in its own right, and that the critic's role was to provide a personal and subjective interpretation of a work of art, rather than simply assess its merits. In conclusion, Walter Pater's intellectual influence on Oscar Wilde is evident in both his artistic philosophy and his literary works. The encounter with Pater's ideas during his time at Oxford significantly shaped Wilde's development as a writer, contributing to his exploration of aestheticism and the art for art's sake movement, which would come to define much of his career. We have an episode dedicated to Walter Pater's life. You may want to check out that episode if you are interested in Pater and his ideas. Oscar Wilde's literary career began in earnest in 1881 with the publication of his first collection of poetry, titled Poems. While the collection received mixed reviews, it helped to establish Wilde as a prominent figure in London's literary circles. Wilde's greatest success came from his plays, which combined biting social commentary, wit, and an exploration of the human condition. His first play, Vera, or The Nihilists, written in 1880, was not as successful. However, he found his true calling in the genre of comedy, and his subsequent works garnered both critical and popular acclaim. Wilde's most well-known plays include Lady Windermere's Fan, 1892, a witty exploration of social mores and the concept of reputation in Victorian society, A Woman of No Importance, 1893, a critique of the double standards and hypocrisy of the upper classes. An Ideal Husband, 1895, a play that delves into political corruption, blackmail, and the nature of true love. The Importance of Being Earnest, 1895. Wilde's final and most famous play, a farcical comedy that satirizes the triviality and superficiality of the upper classes. In addition to his plays, Wilde was also known for his essays and works of fiction. The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1890, his only novel, is a prime example of his engagement with the decadent movement. The novel tells the story of a beautiful young man who remains eternally youthful while his portrait ages and reflects his moral decay. The novel, while controversial for its time, has become a classic and is considered one of Wilde's most important works. Wilde also produced numerous essays such as The Soul of Man Under Socialism, 1891, where he expressed his views on individualism, art and society. Additionally, he wrote fairy tales, including The Happy Prince and Other Tales, 1888, and A House of Pomegranates, 1891, which showcased his ability to craft imaginative and poignant stories for both children and adults. These works, though not as widely known as his plays and novel, further demonstrated Wilde's versatility as a writer. Despite his literary success, Wilde's life was fraught with criticism and controversy. Much of the criticism revolved around his personal life and the themes present in his work. Critics often took issue with the decadent movement and its perceived immorality. The Picture of Dorian Gray, for example, was met with harsh reviews due to its themes of hedonism and aestheticism, with some critics even calling it unclean and poisonous. However, it is important to note that the criticism Wilde faced was not solely about his work. Much of it was also fueled by societal prejudices and the moral rigidity of the Victorian era. Wilde's personal life was the source of much speculation and scandal. His flamboyant personality, wit and style made him a distinctive figure in London society. However, it was his relationship with Lord Alfred Douglas, the son of the Marquess of Queensberry, that would ultimately lead to his downfall. In 1895, the Marquess of Queensberry publicly accused Wilde of homosexuality, which was a criminal offence at the time. Wilde, encouraged by Lord Alfred Douglas, decided to sue the Marquess for libel. The trial, however, backfired spectacularly. The evidence presented against Wilde was so damning that he was forced to drop the case. Wilde was subsequently arrested and charged with gross indecency. He faced 2 trials, both of which captivated the public's attention. The first trial ended with a hung jury, but the second found him guilty of gross indecency. He was sentenced to 2 years of hard labour in prison, a punishment that would take a heavy toll on his health and spirit. Wilde was imprisoned at Pentonville, Wandsworth and Reading Gaol, where he wrote the poignant poem The Ballad of Reading Gaol, 1898, under the pseudonym C33, referring to his cell block and number. The poem, inspired by the execution of a fellow inmate, reflects on the brutal conditions of prison life and the inhumanity of the Victorian penal system. After his release from prison in 1897, Wilde lived the remainder of his life in exile, primarily in France. The scandal had left him financially ruined, and he was estranged from his wife, Constance, and their 2 children. Despite this, Wilde continued to write, albeit with less frequency and success than before. Oscar Wilde died in Paris on November 30th, 1900, at the age of 46. The official cause of death was meningitis, but it is believed that the harsh conditions of his imprisonment had weakened his health and contributed to his early demise. Although Oscar Wilde's life was marred by scandal and tragedy, his literary achievements have endured and continue to be celebrated. Wilde's wit, incisive social commentary, and exploration of the human condition have cemented his place as one of the most important and influential literary figures of the 19th century. Wilde's works have continued to be studied, adapted, and enjoyed by readers and audiences worldwide. His plays remain popular, with The Importance of Being Earnest considered one of the finest comedies in the English language. Furthermore, his novel, essays and fairy tales have left an indelible mark on the literary landscape and have influenced countless writers and artists in the years since his death. Wilde's personal struggles and the trials he faced have also contributed to his legacy. His experiences with societal prejudice and the legal system have made him a symbol of the fight for acceptance. In 2017, Wilde was posthumously pardoned by the British government, along with thousands of other men who were convicted under historical laws criminalising homosexuality. This pardon, known as the Alan Turing Law, serves as a testament to the changing attitudes towards sexuality and the ongoing fight for LGBTQ+ rights. Oscar Wilde's life was one marked by paradox, a man of wit and charm, yet plagued by scandal and tragedy. His literary accomplishments have secured his place among the great writers of the 19th century, while his personal struggles have made him a symbol for the fight for rights and acceptance. Through his plays, novel, essays and fairy tales, Wilde's unique voice continues to resonate with readers and audiences worldwide, ensuring that his work will be celebrated and admired for generations to come. Dear listeners, as we wrap up this enticing episode, we want to thank you for joining us on our adventure into the captivating world of Oscar Wilde. I hope that our time together has left a lasting impression. As we part ways for now, remember to keep exploring the world through words. Until next time, take care and happy reading.